believe in giants? Well, I do, because there's a great big black one sleeping in Ohio. This is Dr. C. Dexter Wise III with another edition of WOW Wow, a word from the wise on Wednesday. There's a great big black giant, and it's asleep in Ohio. Bear with me for a minute and I'll explain what I mean. Let me show you two numbers to prove my point. In the 2024 general election, Trump-backed Cleveland businessman Bernie Moreno, who had never held public office before, ran against the veteran Sherrod Brown for the Senate. Bernie Moreno defeated Sherrod Brown. Moreno won with 2,857,383 votes, or 50% of the votes, to Brown's 2,650,949 votes, or 46.47%. Now, that is a difference of 206,434 votes. That's the first number. I want you to put a pin in that number, 206,434 votes. Now, according to black legislators in Ohio, there are more than 1 million registered black voters in Ohio, but in the last midterm election, 603,000 of those registered voters did not vote. Did you hear what I said? 603,000 of the registered voters did not vote. That means there were 603,000 people who were registered to vote but did not vote in that election. Now, that's the second number, 603,000. These people who were already registered but did not vote. Now, you do the math. Sherrod Brown lost to Bernie Moreno by 206,434 votes. But if blacks do the same thing like they did in the last midterm election, that is potentially over 603,000 black people who might not bother to vote at all in the upcoming election. This means that if, for example, only half of that 360,000 people would have voted for Sherrod Brown or would vote for Sherrod Brown, he could win by 100,000 votes instead of losing by 206,000 votes. So, here's the point. Black people are a sleeping political giant in Ohio who, if shaken out of sleep, have power to be the winning margin in any state race. We put so much emphasis on the Supreme Court decision about gerrymandering that we've overlooked the fact that that only applies to congressional seats for now. I'm sure that Republicans across the country will start doing it at a state level to determine state representatives and state senators, trying to make it possible for them to have more Republican and less Democratic representatives. But we're going to deal with that. But when the time comes, when we have statewide races like governor and senator, it doesn't matter what district you live in. As long as you live in Ohio, your vote counts towards the total of the candidate that you choose. So if you're the only black person who lives in Ross County, for example, and you vote for a Democrat, even though you are outnumbered in that county, your one vote will be added to his or her total in the rest of the state. That is for your Democratic choice. There are enough black people in Ohio who are not voting, who can turn the tide within our state while we work on a national level. Let me say that again. There are enough black people in Ohio who are already registered and are not voting. There are enough of them to turn the tide within our state while we work on the national level. The Republicans are using gerrymandering to dilute the black vote, and they are using gaslighting to discourage the black vote. Maybe I'll say that again. Somebody write that down. That looked like something that should be on a t-shirt. They're using gerrymandering to dilute the black vote, and they're using gaslighting to discourage the black vote. They want us to think your vote doesn't matter. They want us to think we're going to win anyhow, so what's the difference? They want us to think politics is dirty, so stay out. They want us to think it's rigged, so there's nothing you can do about it. Well, there is something you can do, and that is wake up and vote. I say wake up and vote. Being woke is not a bad thing when people are trying to pull the wool over your eyes. If you are dozing off or know any sleeping black voters or people who need to register to vote, please nudge them to wake up, to vote, and to join the fight. This is Dr. C. Dexter Wise III. Feel free to follow me, leave a comment, tell me what you think. Also, check out our church website at www.faithministries.church. And to learn more about my books, products, services, and the Wise School of Ministry, visit wiseworksonline.net. See you next week.